Hi, my name's Luke. I work on the battery team here at Aptera. That includes testing and manufacturing and design and procurement, talking to suppliers, going to see other designs and architecting our whole battery system for the whole car. I think the biggest challenge is really trying to pack everything into such a small space and still deliver on all the other things you have to deliver for like high temperature, low temperature, performance in all kinds of scenarios, and still make the car fun to drive. I mean, that cell has to make you fly off the starting line as well as get you 400 miles on a single charge. We're using the latest cell technology. We're using the most system level integration that we can to get all that weight out of there. It runs at 400 volts, so tons of power. It's actively cooled for high performance, and I need to make it lightweight and inexpensive, but also strong for the vehicle's frame. So lots of interesting problems to solve there. I was in Detroit a couple weeks ago looking at other manufacturers' cars, down to the last nut and bolt, and what I saw was some pretty cool ideas, but they weren't fully fleshed out yet. I wanted to take those ideas one step further. Design is really about optimization, and the car can get twice as much range if you optimize it. I would love to take other manufacturers' designs and just plug them in, but everything I saw was very heavy, overbuilt, a lot of connectors and a lot of cooling pumps. It seemed like the people who are working on these projects weren't talking to each other as cohesively as they could have been, and it's not their fault. I mean, they're really smart people who are working on all this stuff. In companies I worked for in the past, I used to work for Hewlett Packard, and that's 55,000 people. You have one team for every different section of the product. But here, I'm sitting right next to the guy who's leading up the other section of the car, and he's sitting next to the other guy who's leading up the body and the chassis and the integration and the high voltage and the cables and the motors, and everyone is talking to each other. It's kind of impossible for us not to talk to each other, given the nature of what we're trying to do with such an efficient, sustainable vehicle. This kind of thing hasn't been done before, so it really does take a lot of talking, and system integration is the key for getting all that weight out of the vehicle. Having great people combined with having a project that I personally really care about. I mean, making transportation more sustainable, I think is a huge boon to society. And so I really believe in the charter of this company. Last night, I was dreaming about battery designs. It's how do I get this one cell to be 10% better? How do I get 5 grams out of this design? So this battery system, I mean, we have this hydroformed aluminum, which is a process where you take huge amounts of water and you shove this aluminum into the form that you like. And we can use that really cool process to create cooling channels in a sheet of aluminum in a really manufacturable for high volume kind of way, also very inexpensive and high precision. And that allows us to take multiple connectors and pumps out of the system completely. So huge weight savings there on a previous design. And using the cell chemistries that are available now, the cells themselves have gotten 2 or 3 times more power dense. And at the same time, the cost has come down a huge amount. So we are really at an inflection point in, I guess, what I see as the battery timeline of when does this make sense to make a car? I think it's now. I've worked on a couple of projects with large volume production. So I can bring that kind of expertise on how do we get from quantity 5 to quantity 10,000? What do we need to do in order to get from there to there? Because it's not easy.
You had to pick between Nor, Sol, and Lunar.
Oh, Sol for sure.
Why?
Oh, I just love the colors of Sol. I like bright colors personally, and having a white car and you can really see the solar panels on the back, the charging port. I think the two-tone color looks really nice.